Now, Bank of Canada says home prices could fall another 25%. Should you be worried? Now, have you noticed how every time we open the news, it's either market is crashing or this is the best time to buy a home? Honestly, it's pretty exhausting. Should buyers keep waiting? Should sellers get out now while they can? A couple of weeks ago, I came across a headline that says Bank of Canada believes home prices could fall another 25%. And a couple of days ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who works for a major bank, and he believes home prices will come down another 10 to 15% in the next little bit because Bank of Canada will likely increase the overnight lending rate. So naturally, I wanted to read the report myself instead of just reading the headlines because the headlines don't tell the whole story. Now, before I dive in, welcome to the channel. My name is Dilyar Murat. I'm a real estate broker here in the Durham region in Greater Toronto area. Now, if you're watching this and you want honest advice about buying or selling your property, feel free to book a meeting with me through the first link in my bio. With that said, let's get started. So here's what Bank of Canada actually said, okay? They're not predicting a 25% drop. So this report is basically saying if the economy got hit really, really hard, what would happen? I mean, they're calling it a stress test, right? I mean, think about it. When they do a safety test for your car, they don't actually expect you to hit a wall going 100 kilometers an hour. They just want to know what happens if you do. What happens if you do get into an accident, right? And this report is the same idea. The Bank of Canada just wants to know if the Canadian banking system could actually handle a really bad recession. Because as you may have already known, Canada is in already what we call a technical recession. No, according to the article, the recession would have to look something like this, okay? Businesses struggle, people spend less money, market will become more volatile, and the most important point is that the unemployment has to hit 10% or more. Now, if you notice something though, this report isn't actually talking about the housing market. It's saying the job market, right? If the job market weakens, if unemployment rate hits 10% or more, and then we could see the housing market actually come down as much as 25% from where it is today. Because for the last couple of years, everyone has been obsessed with interest rates, right? Mortgage payments, fixed rate versus variable, Bank of Canada's overnight lending rate, etc. But if you think about it, the GTA housing market withstood one of the fastest interest rate hiking cycles in Canadian history. Now, considering we are the second most expensive real estate market in Canada, right behind Vancouver, the real estate market here is highly sensitive to interest rate hikes. Now, don't get me wrong, the market has come down 20% on average. Now, in some areas in the GTA, I've talked about this here before, markets have come down anywhere from 30 to 35%. Now, there were many people and economists who expected the real estate market in the Greater Toronto area to be worse than what it is today. Now, all things considered, right? Global tensions, trade wars, interest rate hikes, etc. The market has been fairly resilient. Now, the reason why the housing prices in the Greater Toronto area didn't drop as much as what some people had hoped for is because of jobs. You see, employment is the last string that's holding this market together. Because if you still have income, people will do what they can to keep their house, right? You know, you may refinance, you may extend amortization, you may pick up a second job, cut spending, you don't eat out, you know, you do what you can. You get rid of things you don't need, like your trailers and mobile homes and second cars, etc., to keep your property. And this is a big but. If income disappears, then that's when the real trouble starts, okay? Because if income disappears, then people have nowhere to go but to sell their home. And if a lot of people lose their jobs at the same time, if a lot of people sell their homes at the same time, prices will come down very quickly. Now, here's my opinion, who's not an economist, but as a real estate agent, this is my personal opinion, okay? I would be watching the unemployment rate over the next few years. Not interest rates, not so much the mortgage renewals, but I would focus on jobs. If people stay employed, the housing market will be fairly stable. Now, I'm not saying this is the bottom for prices, but I'm just saying if people have jobs, we might see a slight reduction in prices possibly, but I don't think we're gonna see the crash that people are hoping for as long as the job market is there. But if unemployment rises very quickly, then that changes everything. But the other thing that people are forgetting is that we are still not building enough homes. And our population is still growing. Because you got to think about it. 1/5 of Canadians are at the age of 65 and over. And our birth rate is still very low. This means immigration might be slowing down for now, but that can't stay that way forever because we do need young people. So while the home prices could fall during a recession with high unemployment rate, the long-term housing supply problem hasn't disappeared. And this is why I think it's dangerous to look at housing as something going up forever or crashing forever. Because the reality is usually somewhere in the middle, right? So should people wait to buy real estate? Honestly, I don't know. Anyone who tells you they know exactly what's going to happen in the real estate market in a year or two from now is just lying. Now, if you're buying a home because you need one and you can afford the payment and you have the financial means to do so, then go ahead and do it. If home prices come down, it's whatever. If home prices go up, it's great because you have no plans to sell in the near future anyways. But make sure you have a goal of keeping that house for at least 5 years, if not longer. Timing the market is going to be extremely difficult, and many people have tried and many have failed. Now, I'm curious to know what you think. Do you think the housing prices in the Greater Toronto area have bottomed? Or you think we have another 20 or 25% to go? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And once again, thanks for tuning in. I'm Dilyar Murat.